I'm Jenny. Hi everyone, I'm Jenny, the volunteer manager at the Chatty Cafe. Thank you so much for listening to this session. And if you have any questions, please email me, jenny@thechattycafescheme.co.uk. When our founder Alex first imagined Chatty Cafe nearly 10 years ago, she pictured people across the country connecting through simple conversations that help ease loneliness. As many of you know, loneliness isn't just about being alone, it's about feeling alone. And a gentle conversation, even just once a week, can make someone feel seen, valued, and less isolated. Over the years, our services have grown enormously. Social prescribing teams across the UK now recognise the important work that volunteers like you carry out every single week. This is wonderful. It means more people can receive support. But it also means that many of the people who join our tables or receive our calls have more complex emotional needs than before. People are reaching out because they trust us to provide a safe, calm space. This training session is for both our chatty telephone befrienders who make these important weekly phone calls and chatty table hosts who welcome people in cafes, pubs, libraries, and community centres across the UK. And of course, Christmas can be particularly difficult. Loneliness, money worries, family tensions, mental health struggles, and reminders of grief can feel heavier at this time of year. You are not expected to be a counsellor, but you are a warm, steady presence, and that alone can make a huge difference. Today, we'll look at signs and symptoms of poor mental health, how to respond when someone tells you they're struggling, what to say and what not to say, and how to look after your own well-being. Many of you will eventually speak with someone who is having a difficult mental health day, or perhaps a difficult mental health year. These conversations can feel daunting, especially if it's new to you. Today's aim is simple: to help you feel prepared, more confident, and less worried about getting it wrong. Your role is to offer friendly, meaningful conversation, listen without judgment, and help people feel less alone. And importantly, you are not expected to fix problems, give medical or mental health advice, or keep something secret if you have concerns about somebody's safety. Think of yourself as a calm companion, not a problem solver. There are many mental health conditions, but the ones you're most likely to encounter include anxiety. People may appear restless, tired, easily irritated, or overwhelmed. You might hear them mention a fast heartbeat or shortness of breath. Bipolar disorder. This can involve big changes in mood, periods of high energy and periods of deep lows. Depression. This often shows up as long-lasting sadness, low motivation, exhaustion, and a loss of interest in things they once enjoyed. Psychosis can involve hallucinations or strong beliefs that don't align with reality. You do not need to recognize every symptom or make assumptions. This information simply helps you understand what someone might be experiencing so you can respond with patience and empathy. When someone opens up to you, it's an enormous sign of trust. Do try and listen without judgment. Give them space and use gentle acknowledgements like, I hear you, or that sounds really difficult. Please don't try to give advice or try to fix things or minimize their feelings. Instead, gently point them towards support if appropriate. Encourage them to speak with their GP to explain how they're feeling. Make sure they have the Samaritan's number and remind them that there's always somebody there to talk to them 24 hours a day. You could share the SANE mental health support line. People can call, text, or email them for support. There's also the Hub of Hope directory. It provides help for adults, and you can filter for what support is needed to find specialist services. A small signpost can be incredibly empowering. And here we've got a quote from one of our volunteers who makes phone calls. A lady I call every week sometimes can feel very low. I've learned to simply listen more on those harder weeks. She says she doesn't want to burden her daughter and talking to me helps. Other weeks we focus on lighter topics. She doesn't always want to talk about her mental health. This quote reminds us that sometimes the simple act of listening, truly listening, is one of the most supportive things you can do. Some weeks people may want to talk about their mental health. Other weeks they might want to talk about the weather or TV, their cat, a recipe they've tried. And that's okay. It's all part of human connection. Listening is more than hearing words. For many people who attend chatty tables or receive weekly calls, being truly listened to might be something they haven't experienced in a long time. When someone feels really heard, they feel valued and safe, and they feel less alone. They're more able to share honestly. They often feel calmer simply by talking things through. To listen well, you should stay present and give your full attention. Avoid the urge to jump in quickly. I think we all do this sometimes. Many of us jump in, especially when we care. We want to reassure and offer solutions or relate through our own stories. But someone who's struggling may need time to find their words. Letting them finish shows respect and helps them feel safe. If there's a pause, don't rush to fill it. Silence can give people the space they need to gather their thoughts. Speak calmly. It reassures them that they're not being too much, that you're comfortable being there and listening. Allow silence. Sometimes silence gives people space to think. You don't need to gather lots of details. You simply need to show that you care and you're there. This quote is from one of our chatty table volunteers. We have a gentleman in his 30s who talks openly about anxiety and depression. Sometimes it's hard to balance talking to him whilst engaging with others at the table. But I've learned I don't need a magic answer. Just being there helps. This quote shows a common learning curve. We often want to fix everything for someone, but we can't. What we can offer is time, patience, and supportive listening. Here's a slide of helpful things to say. So, you're not alone. People do care. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I can't imagine how hard this must be. Please do avoid platitudes like cheer up, others have it worse. Try to be more positive. These comments can feel dismissive even when well intended. Remember, you're not diagnosing, you're not solving, you're not responsible for fixing their situation. You are offering kindness and presence. Christmas brings up a huge mix of emotions for people. Some love it and some find it incredibly painful or overwhelming. As volunteers, we're not here to fix Christmas or make everything feel merry. Our role is simply to listen, to acknowledge their feelings and offer a non-judgmental space. Sometimes a short, gentle conversation can make the season feel a little lighter for someone. Someone might be grieving, newly divorced, far from family, coping with loneliness, or struggling financially. Helpful phrases could include, it's okay if you're not feeling festive. Your feelings are valid. I'm here to listen. If your person feels overwhelmed by the thought of Christmas and everything that comes with it, you could say it's okay to take things one day at a time. This reminds them that they don't need to manage everything all at once. Or you could say, you don't have to solve everything right now. People get emotionally overwhelmed from thinking too far ahead. This brings the focus back to small, manageable steps. Even with the best intentions, certain comments can feel dismissive or accidentally hurtful. For example, you should try to enjoy it. At least you'll have peace and quiet on Christmas Day. It's only one day. These may come from wanting the person to feel better, but can make them feel misunderstood or unseen. Instead, stay with empathy and kindness. Grief and death can feel uncomfortable to talk about, and it's common to worry about saying the wrong thing. Remember that everyone copes with bereavement differently. There is no single right way to grieve and no set timeline for when someone will begin to feel better. When supporting someone who is grieving, focus on empathy. Many people want to talk about their loss, but may hesitate with close friends or family because they don't want to cause additional pain. Acknowledge their loss with simple, sincere phrases such as, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and give them space to talk. You can't remove their grief or speed up the healing process, but you can offer presence and attentive listening. Grief often brings strong emotions, such as guilt and anger, despair, or fear. If someone shares these feelings, it can help to gently reassure them that these reactions are normal. People also worry that their loved one will be forgotten. So providing a safe space for them to talk about that person can be deeply comforting. Helpful things to say are, "I'm so sorry for your loss. How are you feeling today? I can't imagine what you're going through." But do try to avoid saying, "You should be over this. I know how you feel. They're in a better place now." Encourage them to talk at their own pace. At a Loss is a helpful website support which provides support before a death, during bereavement, and afterward. The site includes information on financial issues, counselling, support groups, and therapy options. As we start thinking about future conversations you may have, it's really important to remember that not every interaction needs to revolve around mental health, even if the person has previously opened up to you about something difficult. Sometimes when people share something deeply personal, volunteers worry that they must check in on the issue every single time they see them or speak to them. Are they okay today? Should I bring it up? What if I say the wrong thing? But in reality, for many people, being treated like a whole person, not someone defined by their struggles, is incredibly comforting. A natural, balanced conversation can help people feel more grounded and connected. Everyday conversation still matters. Ordinary topics can offer a sense of normality and a break from the emotional heaviness, and it's a reminder to them of interests and hobbies and an identity outside of their difficulties. A moment of laughter or distraction and a chance to talk about things that bring joy or curiosity can only help. Sometimes everyday conversation is exactly what they need the most. You might chat about pets. Everybody loves talking about their pets, or cooking or gardening, anything. These conversations build trust just as much as the deeper ones. Sometimes volunteers ask when they should revisit mental health topics with the person. You don't need to force it or check in constantly. However, you can gently ask about their well-being if they bring up something that sounds worrying, or their tone or their energy or behaviour seems different from usual, or they mention their ongoing challenges, or they've specifically told you they appreciate check-ins about their mental health. Checking in can be very simple. You could just say, "How have things been since we last spoke?" Or, "You mentioned feeling low last week. How are things today?" Or, "I'm happy to talk about anything you like. How have you been managing?" This gives them the option to share without any pressure. If they want to talk about something heavy, you'll listen. If they want to talk about their favourite childhood biscuit, you'll also listen. Your consistency and calm presence matters more than anything you say. Balancing deeper conversations with lighter ones also helps protect your own well-being as a volunteer. If every conversation feels heavy, it can be emotionally draining. Allowing natural, everyday topics keeps interactions positive and sustainable. Here we've got a quote from one of our beneficiaries. "Some weeks I prefer to talk about other things with my volunteer. It helps take my mind off my negative thoughts." This quote reminds us that a break from heavy topics can be a relief. One of the most important parts of this training, and something we never want volunteers to forget, is that your well-being matters too. You may be supporting people who are lonely, overwhelmed, grieving, or struggling with their mental health. These conversations can be meaningful and rewarding, but they can also feel emotionally heavy at times. It's completely normal to have moments where you finish a chat or a table session and think, "That felt like a lot today. I hope I said the right thing. I'm still thinking about what they told me." Those feelings don't mean you've done anything wrong. They mean you care, and caring takes energy. When you take care of your emotional well-being, you can be more present and grounded with the people you support. You'll avoid burnout and you'll maintain healthy boundaries and protect your own mental health. Just like on an aeroplane, you must put your own oxygen mask on first. It can be helpful to notice if you're feeling drained after every conversation, or thinking constantly about someone you spoke to, or worrying that you're responsible for their well-being, or feeling guilty that you're not doing enough, or you're dreading upcoming calls or table sessions and finding it hard to switch off. These are gentle signs that you may need to share your feelings with someone or take a moment to reset. If you have a difficult conversation that stays with you, if you're a chatty table host, do consider having a little debrief with the other volunteers after your session. If there are no other volunteers at your table, please do contact me and we can talk it through. Telephone befrienders can email Linda or myself to arrange a call to talk through the conversation that you had. It is important that you never discuss anyone's situation with someone who doesn't volunteer or work at the Chatty Cafe. Volunteering isn't always easy, but it genuinely changes lives. Your kindness, your patience, and your presence make an enormous difference. Thank you so much for the time and care that you give. Please email me if you have any questions. Thank you.